Pilgrim's Rest. The stone steps groaned under my boots as I climbed toward the Pilgrim's Rest Inn, its timbered walls steeped in Skyrim's old ways. I wasn't sure I could rest. Not yet. But my horse needed it, and I had never set foot in these northern lands. I clutched at a fragile hope that someone here might have a map, or at least point me towards old Misfield Manor. Somewhere, somehow, I had to find it. Every step felt heavier than the last, the weight of uncertainty pressing against my chest. How could I face a place I'd never seen, chasing an elf who might not even exist? I straightened my effects, my fingers brushing the satchel that held my journal, my alchemy notes, and the few tools that gave me a sense of control. Opus skittered through the fallen leaves beside me, the soft clinks and whirs of its brass joints grounding me. Even its mechanical presence felt steadier than I had ever felt in myself. I paused to glance at the low plants peeking through the forest floor. Small, delicate herbs with frost-tipped leaves and blooms that glimmered faintly in the mist. Each one whispered possibilities, potions, poultices, elixirs. For a fleeting moment, the world felt less vast, less impossible. I exhaled and pushed open the heavy door, letting the warmth wash over me. Opus entered next to me, its sounds unique compared to the rest. A bard's lute hummed softly, weaving through the scent of spiced meat and roasting meat. I barely had time to take it all in before a voice hit me like a bell. Welcome to the Pilgrim's Rest Inn, best inn in all of Iverstead. The Nord's voice boomed, full of laughter and energy. I must have looked as wide-eyed as a drogger at dawn. By shore, you've an interesting friend. His gaze flicked to Opus, curiosity bright in his eyes. It's not going to dig a hole in my wall, is it? He laughed, his red braids catching in the lamplight. I wouldn't think so, I said hesitantly, not expecting the energy or question posed. Wonderful. Name's Yngvild. What brings you here? His voice was theatric, but not overdone. I edged closer to the counter, careful to keep my words between Yngvild and I. My throat felt tight, and even as I spoke, the sound of my own voice seemed foreign. I'm looking for an elf. Dalinor. I heard he might be at old Misfield Manor. The words hung in the air, and for a moment I wondered if I had the right to say them, or if I even deserved to find him. My hand twitched against the satchel at my side, fingers brushing the edges as if seeking courage from the familiar weight of my journal. Yngvild's eyes softened with amusement, though his brows knit in thought. Dalinor, eh? Well, I can't say I've seen him, but rumors linger. There's a chance. Old Misfield Manor, yes, near Riften. Make it to Riften, and someone there ought to know. Ever been? I shook my head, swallowing the lump in my throat. I haven't. I drew my journal from my satchel, eager to record anything that may guide me forward. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. You'll head south from here, cross the bridge, and follow the path east. At the fork, you can go north or south. The north route is more remote. When you reach Shore's Stone, Riften's just south. The south route leads to Nimalton, less charming than Iverstead, but with its own stories. Follow the water, find Scald's Retreat, then the road bends north. Riften isn't far after that. I scribbled it all down, the scratch of quill on paper somehow steadying my racing thoughts. Thank you, Ingvid. Truly, I murmured, hoping he sensed the gratitude in my voice. No trouble at all. And you'll rest here tonight, yes? He gestured theatrically, arms wide. Or do you plan to wander the night instead? I let a small, shaky smile form. A rest would be welcome. Thank you. He led me up the creaking wood stairs to a simple room on the second floor, the smell of pine and warm hearth smoke lingering faintly in the air. Sunlight spilled through the small window, dust motes drifting lazily in its golden beam. You have your pick tonight, Ingvild said with a grin. Not many travelers braving the roads this evening. I stepped inside, the floorboards groaning softly beneath my boots. The beds were plain but inviting, their linen neatly folded, empty except for the quiet promise of rest. Rizek's opus scuttled ahead, breast legs clicking against the floor, tapping at corners and sniffing at shadows, as if cataloging the room for hidden secrets. Ingvild lingered at the doorway, his shadow stretching across the floor. Shout if you need anything, he called, his voice fading into the low hum of the inn. I let out a slow breath, the warmth of the room a stark contrast to the chill outside. Opus paused near the window, its soft whir of gears a comforting rhythm, grounding me in the stillness. I settled on one of the empty beds, sat cross-legged, and pulled my journal onto my lap. My fingers traced the edges of the parchment as if it could anchor my scattered thoughts. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying distant bird calls and the faint murmur of a river. I wrote slowly, reviewing notes from past alchemical experiments, reminders of ingredients I hoped to find in the rift. Each word I traced onto the page felt like a tether to a part of myself I'd often neglected, the part that thought, observed, and quietly measured the world before acting. For the first time in days, I allowed myself a small sigh. The road ahead was uncertain. Dalinor's presence, the shadows I would soon face, they felt distant, yet inevitable. But here, in this quiet room, with Opus softly clicking beside me, I let the tension ease, if only for a moment. My mind could wander, my hands could work, and the restless beat of the journey could slow. Though sleep still seemed far, I felt a fragile sense of readiness bloom within me, a quiet certainty that the path I sought, through shadow and stone, was waiting, and I would walk it, one deliberate step at a time. For the first time since leaving Evermore, I allowed myself a fragile hope. I might not be strong, I might not be fearless, but I could take the next step, and perhaps, just perhaps, the shadows and the secrets hidden among the rift's herbs would not swallow me if I dared walk toward them.